Hello and welcome. This is a sixth grade math video where we're going to be focusing on multiplication with whole numbers as a review. And the reason I say review is because you have been learning how to multiply with whole numbers and multi-digit whole numbers since about fourth grade. You did it in fourth grade for the first time, then you reviewed it in fifth grade, but with some larger numbers. And sixth grade is really the last time we kind of focus on this as an operation by itself. So this video may move a little quickly, but that's okay because this is designed to be just a kind of a review of how we do this. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Now, you may have noticed something different about this one, and that is we are no longer writing multiplication with an X, meaning times, in between the two numbers. Over here, we have what is a dot, or looks like a decimal in between the two numbers, except if it was a decimal, it would be down here. We are putting a dot in the middle here. And the reason we do that starting in around sixth grade is because in sixth grade, you're introduced to some pre-algebra skills where you're using letters to represent unknown amounts in equations. And one of the most popular letters to use as a variable is X. And so a lot of times we don't want you to get confused between X meaning times or X representing an unknown amount. So we start moving you towards using a dot in between the two numbers to represent multiplication. Okay, so let's dive into this one. Now, it's usually customary in big multiplication problems to put the number that has the most digits on the top. So out of my two numbers, 196 and 4, 196 has the most digits. So I'm going to put 196 on the top. And I'm going to put the 4 right under here in the ones place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start by multiplying each number on the top by the 4 that's on the bottom. So I'll start with the ones place, 6 times 4, which is 24. So here's what happens. When you multiply and you get a two-digit number, you have to split it up and regroup. So in the number 24 that I got as the product of 6 and 4, the number in the ones place stays down, the number in the tens place goes up. That means in the 24, the 4 will go here and the 2 will go up here and be regrouped into the next place value. Okay, so next I will do 9 times 4, which is 36. Okay, but now I have to add the 2 that's been regrouped up here. So it's not times 2, but this time we're adding 2 that's been regrouped. So if I add 2 to that, I get 38. So that what that means is the ones go down and the tens go up. So the 8 comes down here and the tens number gets regrouped over into the next place value, which is the hundreds place. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and multiply 1 times 4, which is 4. But I have to add the 3 that's now on top of the 1. So I'm going to add the 3 and I get 7. So since that's a single digit number, we're just going to keep it where it is right under the hundreds place. So right there. So our answer to this one would be 784. Okay, here is our next one. We're doing 4 times 2020. So again, we want to take the number that has the most digits, in this case, that'd be the 2020, and put that one on top. So I'm going to put 2, 0, 2, 0 on top, and then I'm going to put 4 right here on the bottom, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply those. And I can put an X there, or since we're using dots now, I can put a dot there. So I'm going to start by doing 0 times 4, which is 0, so no regrouping there. 2 times 4, which is 8. 0 times 4, which is 0, and 2 times 4, which is 8. So the answer here should be 8,080. This one was kind of easy because there was no regrouping. Okay, here's our next one. We're going to do 7 times 39,426. Okay, so since that 39,000 is definitely the bigger number and has more digits, that's a number that's going to go on top. So I'm going to put 3, 9, 4, 2, 6 on top, and then 7 down here to be multiplied by. Now you may notice I'm leaving a lot of space in between my digits, and that's just kind of a method I do so that I know when I regroup what number belongs to what place value. It just helps me keep things organized as I go. So I'm going to start by doing 6 times 7, which is 42. So I'm going to put the 2 here and regroup the 4 up here to the next place value. Next, I need to do 2 times 7, which is 14, plus 4, which would give me 18. So I'd put the 8 over here and regroup the 1. Up next, it's 4 times 7, which is 28, plus the 1, so that's 29. Okay, and then next we have 9 times 7, which is 63, plus the 2, so that's 65. Okay, so notice I'm leaving all the digits down here, and then I am regrouping the next ones, or the 10, whatever is end up in the tens place into the next place value. Okay, and then I'm going to do 3 times 7, which is 21, plus 6, which gives me 27. So that last number, I could regroup the 2 to the next place value, but since there's nothing under it to hold it up, it just falls straight down and lands there. So the answer here would be 275,982. Okay, here's our next one. It's even bigger, 423,013 times 2. So again, I'm going to take that bigger number, or the one with more digits, 423,000, and then 13 times the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and spread that out. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 3 times 2 again is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. Final answer here, 846,026. Okay, here's our last one for today's video, and this one presents a little bit more of a challenge because we are taking that big multi-digit whole number and multiplying it by another multi-digit whole number instead of a single number. So let's review how we do this. We still want to put the number with the most digits on the top. That would be the 4,647. So I'm going to do 4, 6, 4, 7 on the top. And then I'm going to do 132 on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start by first multiplying everything on the top by the 2, or the number in the ones place in the second number. So that means I'm going to do 7 times 2, which is 14. Then 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. 6 times 2, which is 12. So I'm going to split that up. And then 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. So there is my first row of numbers. Now, what I like to do is I like to cross that number out. Now that I'm done multiplying by the 2, I cross it out so that I know I'm no longer going to multiply anything by the 2. Another thing I like to do is erase or cross out those numbers that I use to regroup. So that way I don't get it confused if I have to regroup again which number I'm adding. Now, the last thing that you must do is add a 0 in your next row of numbers. That is showing that now you are multiplying by a number in the tens place, because in 132, that 3 is in the tens place. So I'm going to start by doing 7 times 3, which is 21. So I put a 1 here and regroup the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So I'll put a 4 here and a 1 here. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So a 9 here and a 1 here. Then 4 times 3 again is 12, but this time I'm just adding 1. So that would be a 13. So again, I could regroup the 1 here, but it's just going to fall down and land right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase all these little numbers up here and this one. And I'm going to cross out the 3. And then this time I have to add 2 zeros to show that this time I'm multiplying by a number in the hundreds place. And that 132, that 1 that is left to multiply by, is in the hundreds place. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to multiply everything by the 1. So 7 times 1 is 7. 4 times 1 is 4. 6 times 1 is 6. And 4 times 1 is 4. So now that I'm done multiplying everything, I have to go ahead and add up all these partial products down here. So 4, 0, and 0 is 4. 9 and 1 is 10. So that's a 0, and I'm going to regroup that 1. Okay. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. So a 4 here and a 1 here. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 9 is 19. And then 19 plus 4 is 23. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is, or 5 plus 6 is 11. So I'm going to put a 1 here and regroup that 1. And then 1 and 1 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. So there is my final answer, 613,404. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully I will see you again soon.